100 years ago, Nikola Tesla discovered a healing technology that threatened the entire pharmaceutical industry. The day he died, the government seized everything. For 100 years, this technology was hidden. Until now, plasma is back. Tesla Club, tzla.club.
One in 7 vaccinated people, COVID-vaccinated people, report a serious adverse event. MHRA report finds, but the cover-up continues. You surprise me. 1 in 7, that is the proportion of people in the MHRA's own actively recruited surveillance cohort who reported a medically serious adverse reaction following COVID vaccination. This isn't a negative reaction. Like, this isn't, oh no, my skin's gone a bit flaky or I'm feeling a bit. This is a medically serious reaction. 1 in 7. Over half reported at least one reaction of any kind. The data was collected between 2020 and 2022. They were not published until September 2025. Can't think why. And only then because Cheryl Granger, through a Freedom of Information request and subsequent ICO appeal, forced it out. So this data would have been clear from the beginning then, from 2020, as the vaccine, I call it a vaccine, fake vaccine, started to be rolled out towards the end of 2020, but then majorly through 2021. Now we know, of course, that the manufacturers, who are absolved of all liability, of course, in advance, they knew of adverse reactions during their very limited trials anyway. You can look at the data from Pfizer, the data they tried to hide and bury for like 75 years or something. You can see in there that they were having adverse reactions from the beginning. So they knew exactly what was going on. So it was apparent even before the rollout. But of course, like I say, they tried to bury that. They said nothing, of course, ka-ching. And then you've got the MHRA aware of 1 in 7 as far back as 2020, 2021, 2022, and then they keep it buried. And what's despicable about this is if they'd have come out in 2020 or even 2022 and come out and said, look, we've collected this data over the last couple of years, 1 in 7, a serious medical adverse reaction, not I feel a bit queasy or I've got a bit of eczema, which is bad enough, but a serious medical event, how many people would have then not got their boosters, which of course, you're playing Russian roulette. Each time you take a booster, each time you get another shot, like some people went and had 1, other people went and had 2, some 3, 4, 5, some, I don't even want to know, they look like Hellraiser, they're on that many now. But it's a game of Russian roulette. Each one of those shots is literally firing a gun. And in the end, as 1 in 7 can attest, one's going to have a bullet in it. It's beyond the realms of how despicable it is, willingly allowing people to get sick and willingly allowing people to die. It's demonic, actually. Yet we were the bad guys. Do you remember? We were the bad guys. We were the granny killers. We were the misinformation agents. We were the fake news. We needed deplatforming, arresting even. Okay, mate. The paper that eventually appeared in the journal Drug Safety was not written as a safety paper. It was written as a description of the digital platform used to collect the data. A methods paper published 5 months after Dame June Rain left as chief executive, nearly 3 years after the data was locked. So they had the data to be able to say to people, look, and even if you're like, I have my opinions on the whole Rona nonsense, but let's say we'll go along with it. Let's go along with the official story just for a laugh. Even if you believe all that wet market nonsense or Wuhan lab nonsense or whatever, you've got this information that 1 in 7 recipients are having a serious medical adverse event. You think you'd tell people, wouldn't you? But no, why would you do that? The other part as well, because I know a lot of people have this theory, don't they, in terms of like a karmic thing. Like they always tell you, and you'll see that in everything. Politicians, leaders of big pharma, the media, they're massively dishonest. We know that. They're liars. They lie for a living. But they also lie a lot through admission. But where they tell you certain bits and then they leave certain bits out. So well, he's not lied, but he's just conveniently skewed it in such a way that he knows I'm going to think that. He knows my perceptions are going to be led down that path rather than that one. So they do that a lot. Bill Gates famously in 2020 said that one of his 5 books to read this year, his favorite books, he does that on his website every year, was How to Lie with Statistics. Like, they always tell you what they're doing. And a lot of people think that that's a karmic thing. Like, if they've told you and you still go along with it, well, then that is on you then. It's not on them. They've sort of absolved themselves of guilt. Maybe there's some truth in that. I don't know. Maybe they're just trolling, mate. Maybe that's a little bit of it as well. I actually told him and he still went along with it. So maybe, you can have your own theories. Of course you can on terms of what that is. But in this, it's interesting because they've done that. They've let the data out because the data is in this document. It's here. They're telling you. But because the document is really about the platform they use to collect the data, it's like, we're telling you, but we know you ain't going to look. Not really. And so thankfully, there's people out there who see through that and have actually, gone through the data and gone, well, this is what it means. This is what it says. So that's amazing. The actual adverse reaction rates are reported but not analysed. The one, why do they use words like this? Stratification, hopefully I nailed that could determine whether those rates are real was not performed. The numbers buried inside it deserved rather more attention. Well, good luck with that from their side. They're not going to do that. That's the whole point. Because if the data and the numbers get attention, we're going to be sat here going 1 in 7. Well, they don't want that. So what they do is they give you the data with this hand. They go, right, okay, let's put the data out. There's the data. Oh my goodness me! Look at that. There's a raccoon on the. It's on the porch. It's gonna get you. Because they know that everyone's going to be looking over there. That's the whole point of it. That's why they do it. The YCVM was the MHRA's. I wanted to say, mRNA then. I think that's why they do that, just to make it difficult. Premium data source. It was one of 4 pillars of its COVID vaccine safety surveillance strategy. Unlike the passive yellow card scheme where people report voluntarily and sporadically, the YCVM actively recruited individuals and followed them up in set intervals. So obviously the theory with that then is this data is even more accurate. The MHRA itself described it as a tool to rapidly detect, confirm, characterize, and quantify new risks, and then ignore them, and then completely ignore them for years. So that the poison can be chucked out left, right, and centre. They're still chucking it out now into people's arms. Honestly. And all those poor souls that, without being rude, weren't educated enough or didn't look into it enough, just rolled up their sleeve and went along with it. Sodom. Don't matter, does it? Of the 30,500 individuals who reported receiving a vaccination, 15,764, so 52.1%, reported at least one adverse reaction. 4,134, 13.7%, reported a reaction classified as medically serious. So over half have got an adverse reaction. So that 100% safe and effective, what are you lying for? And also, there's no long-term data, ladies and gentlemen, because there literally can't be, because it's not been long-term. So anyone that says, oh, no, we've got all the data, well, they're lying. And you have to ask yourself why they're lying, because it literally can't have that. It's 2026. This stuff was chucked into people in 2020, 2021, 22, 20. There's no long-term data because there hasn't been long-term. So how many people are ticking time bombs now? And that's not me, I'm not trying to be a fear porn monger at all, but it's a legitimate question. Who knows? Like, no one knows. But when it comes to the dangers of these mRNA injections, and it's not just Pfizer, of course. Pfizer's the big one, but Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, every single one of them, right? And I would imagine even the Sputnik one over in Russia wasn't exactly good for your health. Why did we know? Like, I've asked this so many times, I've never got an answer. Why did I know? To the point where I was traveling around the country pleading for people to, make your own choices 100%. Like, I'm not going to tell people what to do, but please listen to what I'm saying and then make your decision based on all the information. Listen to Dr. Hillary and listen to me and listen to Fauci and listen to RFK Jr., maybe not now, and then just, make the decision based on the information as opposed to just going, well, they told me to do it. All right, well, at least. So I'm traveling around the country doing that with many others. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a vaccinologist. I've got some basic physiology and anatomy qualifications. That's basically it. So then you have to ask yourself, why did I know? And they didn't. Well, of course they did. And that's the point I'm making. If someone like me can know what's coming, can analyze what certain people are saying, do a bit of research here and there, look at different people in different countries, and go, this is bad, with my limited knowledge, and be proved right, and many others, by the way. I'm not saying, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm making the point, like, there was loads of us. Very few of us with medical qualifications. Of course, some of us did, but many of us didn't. But we could still see through it. Yet all these people with letters after their name and wings on their house didn't know. Not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Sorry, you might have the odd nurse here and there that is just following orders. Well, it came from my superior, and then it came from his or her superior. It came from the World Health Organization. It came from Bill Gates. That medical doctor. Maybe some of them might have just been, okay, just following orders, whatever. But all the others that were pushing it, the doctors that were coming onto television and bemoaning people like me and you and calling us dangerous and how we should be deplatformed and shunned by society and all this sort of stuff, while they were pushing something that was causing 1 in 7 people to have a serious medical adverse reaction. There's no way they didn't know. No chance. And so I'm not going to shut up, basically. I know people get a bit bored. Oh, he's banging on about the Rona again. Well, there's been no justice. There's been none. And until there's justice, I'm not shutting up. And no one should shut up. For 2 reasons. One being, you're letting them get away with it. All that money, all those television appearances, all those fees for standing there and lying to the public and gaslighting people into death, some people. You're going to let them get away with it. And the other, perhaps more important element to this, is if you don't hold people accountable for what they've done, if there isn't a repercussion, if there isn't a punishment, if there isn't justice, what stops them doing it again tomorrow? Do you know what I mean? Parents out there, you know how it is. If you threaten a punishment, like if you don't do X, Y, and Z, then, you're not having your pocket money, or you're not having this new toy that I'd promised or whatever. I'm going to withhold that until you do X, Y, and Z. If you then just give them the toy anyway, or give them the pocket money anyway, what is the incentive for the kid to, I don't know, tidy their room, whatever? There isn't any. That's all right. Dad's going to give it to me anyway. Why am I bothered? So it's the same with this. If these people aren't held accountable and justice isn't served for those people that have lost family members, lost loved ones, whatever, people that are living with lifelong vaccine injuries, if there's no justice for them and there's no punishment for them, what stops this happening again tomorrow? Because all it will do is it will embolden these ghouls. And for that reason, I ain't shutting up. Not a chance, mate.
In 1943, the government seized Nikola Tesla's most dangerous invention, a healing technology that threatened Big Pharma's entire empire. They buried it for 100 years, but it's back, and over 1,000 people worldwide are using it right now. When you join Tesla Club, you get your own Tesla plasma device, 5 times more powerful than the original violet ray and built to last. You join a private Telegram group where members share breakthroughs daily. Stroke recoveries, cancer reversals, chronic pain gone in minutes. These aren't stories. These are yesterday's posts. You get lifetime support from people who've been where you are. Technical guidance, therapeutic protocols, a group that actually understands. And you get access to hundreds of documented experiments, real members, real results, real transformations. No prescriptions, no waiting for permission, no begging doctors who don't believe you. Just you, your machine, and a movement taking health sovereignty back. We're Tesla Club, private science club for self-directed healing. Visit tzla.club. Join the revolution.
Plasma. It's back!
Don't mention the reptiles, Dave.
Even less is said about the Grey Pope, who some believe to be the true ruling power in the Vatican.
Humans emitting a MAC address.
All of them had Bluetooth signals.
I've never seen it before.
Queuing up to transition their children.
This is the ultimate suicide cult.
What if the symbols around us every day aren't just ornamental?
We lost 1,000 years of history.
What if they're instruction?
That state of awareness is not manipulatable.